Hello everyone and welcome, my name is Lipnox and this is Brutally Honest, a show where I want to talk to you about the games I'm playing, and this one is for the Oculus Quest. It's called Falcon Age. It used to be a PlayStation VR game, now it's a Quest game. I never played it on the PSVR, but it always interested me, but it never went on sale, so I just never checked it out. I'm a huge animal lover and I love Zelda, so this premise was exactly what I was looking for. Let's take a look at what Falcon Age offers. Now, first things first, Falcon Age just released on September 3rd. For $19.99 US dollars or $22.99 Canadian. As Canadians on the Quest store seem to always get a decent deal on the translation for conversion prices. Huge win on my part for that, because on PlayStation VR they're usually considerably more expensive. Win, I guess. So I was given a review code from the developer on Twitter, who was having a hilarious situation with his kid, where his kid wanted the NBA 2K. Didn't care so much that as a developer, but hey, big win when you can get me a free developer code for, the Mambia edition? I don't know, I'm sure my buddy Cypher is losing his mind playing that NBA game, so enjoy. So Falcon Age is a game that gives off an action RPG feel, sort of like Zelda, which I'm a huge fan of, and you're going through the story, you're essentially collecting new things to get past new areas, and progress further and explore more of the land. It's a big open area type of thing. You can by the end of the game, you can explore basically everywhere. The bird gameplay is basically you're holding A and then you're swooping down on enemies, you're collecting items, you're gathering the resources that are too high for you to easily reach, and there are some areas that you're dropping grenades. You're also using the sonar to be able to navigate some of the bomb-filled areas. There's only 2 of those areas that I experienced. I'm not sure if there's a third one hidden somewhere. But, so it's very light on the puzzle solving, but there is a little bit of figuring things out, mostly in how to fight the enemies, though there's NPCs that tell you what to do. You can also pet the bird to feed it back to health, pull the needle things off of it, I guess they're darts, and then you feed it, you get these, you get materials, you cook them up in the deep fryer, and there's recipes, and then you get healing, there's buffs, there's all sorts of little things you can do with the bird to expand the gameplay, and it's that part of the gameplay I really enjoy. It's quite interesting. I like the farming aspect of collecting items, and you also have a baton stick, which you're using to whip things, to open things, to solve the puzzles, but you're also using it to bash the enemies. Now the combat is extremely basic. You are literally just bashing it, and it's just smash, smash, smash! You know that meme? That's basically what you're doing 90% of the time when you're fighting these enemies. There is one enemy you have to sort of time when you hit them, and then some of the enemies that you're using the whip, like this big robot guy, you're pulling it to open the things. It kind of worked. It was okay. Oh, and there's also a grenade that you're throwing down to blow up things, and mostly for farming. I didn't really use it very much in combat, but it is there. There's a shop you can buy things. There's cosmetic upgrades. There's special little animation things you can get. There's one he's like the bird's lifting weights. It's hilarious for animation's sake, and I think that is a side gameplay element that you sort of want to farm and free roam this area to get all the unlockables. You get different scarves and different outfit things for the bird. I wasn't too enthralled in doing all that kind of stuff because I found the gameplay a little bit repetitive and boring, but it is what it is. Now the story starts off, you're in a jail, and you're basically doing menial tasks day by day by day, following this robot overseer that's looking at you and making sure you're doing your proper thing. And when you find this bird and you help this bird, this baby bird, and you see at the start the mother gets attacked by this other bird, and it's a whole thing. She unfortunately doesn't make it, so you're basically taking care of this bird. And the opening starts off very, very slow. Very slow. The mining part is fun at the opening, but it kind of it drags on way too long. Now the overall story past that part is that you have your anti-character who basically leads the narrative and pushes you along to go here, go here, go here, and you're trying to destroy the refineries, trying to break the big corporations' hold on everyone, and rebel, and show them, who's boss, because they're doing all these bad things to you. and it goes into more depth of the story, but unfortunately it's hindered by these extremely long text conversations with no dialogue that just drag on and on and on. And it has this weird thing where you turn your hand to look at the conversation choices and select between the ones you want. So there's that. Now, onto the rough things that I wasn't so into. See, graphically, it pops in constantly. We're talking like 3 meters away. I guess that's 9 feet away, even less sometimes. You're close. You got a little bit close to these objects. Pops in, and I mean there's a lot of pop in games back in the day. I remember Gears of War was really bad for the pop in, but once it popped in, it was there. This is just, it's constantly popping in, and it's visually not good to look at. Everything's orange. There's a few environments that look beautiful that are extremely highly detailed, like where your auntie lives, but most of the game is just orange and boring, like just repetitive, the same types of things over and over and over again. There's a few machine building things, but they just copy paste, copy paste, copy paste. I feel like there's 3 distinct art style things, and one of them the only time you see it is at the end of the game when you're rescuing your auntie. There's a spot you climb up this huge mountain area, and that's awesome. You're looking down, it just looks beautiful, but you do it once, and then you don't see these things again. Like, there's valleys, but they're just empty, and it's just, I feel like a huge missed opportunity on the verticality of this game. I also found that you can clip through the walls, like go through the rocks and things like that. There's one spot that I guess I was supposed to do something else. I don't know what I was supposed to do, but you could see the sonar bombs in the ground, and I just walked to the side of it, and it's like, oh yeah, there we go. No problem. And I mean, bad on me for cheating, but bad on me for making it so easy to cheat. I wasn't even sure what I was supposed to be doing anyway. The last sonar seemed to have a nice clear path. I thought I was doing it properly, doing a little sneaking, but I clearly was not how I was supposed to be doing it. But whatever. I mean, and then the enemies, it's just spend all this time fighting the enemies. It's just pointless. You just walk past everything. There's no reason to fight anything. Unless you want to unlock all the things with the money, there's no point. Just go to the top thing, unlock the door with the bird, and then bam, you're good to go. I mean, I took out all the gunner things, so I guess the gunner parts is a part of it, but it's just, you really don't need to fight that much of the enemies, and especially later on, it's just, by the end of it, like that last area where you're going into this, I mean, I don't want to spoil anything of the story, but basically you're going into this, built up area with a lot of machinery. It's not all orange and boring like everything else. It's quite a neat area, but you don't have to fight anything. You just walk past everything, and there's no reason to fight anything. It's just gonna slightly just slow you down, and by that point in the game, this combat is not exciting. You're bored, and you just don't care. I was just happy to just get it over with, and throughout the entire game, especially the opening, I just constantly struggling with the controls. Like, you press the trigger at one point, it brings up your menu, and it's the grab button and the trigger, they seem to like do the same things and don't do the same things, and you press B to pull out your thing. Like, it just feels like the controls are just half baked onto the Quest. Like, they just didn't care, or the game wasn't ready for the Quest, and it's just easily let's get it working and then just throw it on there, because I love the movement. The movement is super fast. The movement is great, but the turning, you're turning in like a full, like, around you, so you're like circling around yourself when you're turning, and it gets you stuck in things. It gets all these issues. It gets stuck in places. Like, this game's not very long. I got stuck on things so many times, and I had to like just jimmy myself out of these positions. I mean, at one point, I literally get stuck floating in the sky. Like, this is version 1, so maybe these things are gonna get patched out, but like, there's so many different little tiny glitches. That being said, I mean, the audio is perfectly fine in terms of the music, but then there's no voice acting. There's like a small little like verbiage here and there, but I mean, anything. There's so much dialogue that I would have loved for there to be some voices. And there's not. So, unfortunately, that's that. So, I mean, I was extremely excited to play this game. And unfortunately, I felt the opening was extremely slow. I felt like by the time the game really picks up and you have the whip and you start actually doing things that are fun, it just cycles this constant fighting the robots and nothing happens. And for me, I think that if you just go through and treat it like a free roam thing and you collect all the resources and you go and you upgrade all the things in the shop and get all the cosmetic things, there's some pretty expensive cosmetic things, I think you can add several hours onto the gameplay, and I think the gameplay is a lot more entertaining in that form. But if you're just going through the story, I can't recommend this because it's not entertaining, it's boring. The parts where you're doing story segments are just the same robot fight over and over and over again, and then they're like, oh, let's mix it up, let's add electricity to just slightly hinder you, and it just doesn't really work. And there's an enemy you have to fight slightly different where you bash him on the head when he comes up and you knock his armor thing off, but it's so basic, it's not really that much fun. And I mean, I just feel like there was so much better they could have done, and the bird doesn't seem to always want to come to you. And I was excited for this game, and I don't want to tell people a lie. I don't want to say, oh, I didn't have fun with it, but it's great. It's got problems. There's lots of problems, and it's a full, for how much the Quest games cost, this is $20 American. This is not a budget title. This is not Nature Trek. This is a full game. Yeah, it's 3 hours long, but it's 3 hours I was bored. So I would say, maybe wait for a sale if it's really something that you want to check out. I mean, you can see the gameplay, you can see what it is, but you're going to see lots of the same animations over and over and over again, and just a game that is just not as in-depth in the areas that I would have wanted it to be in-depth, and it just drags on and on and on. And I think this is something that I really want to point out for any developers is I don't think that this was a game that was play tested to be fun. It feels like there was a story, they wanted to tell the story, and they just slapped on gameplay on top of the story. And then the story doesn't have the voiceovers, so it just, I don't know. I don't understand what this is supposed to be overall. I feel like there's great ideas. I feel like you need to take the good ideas and get rid of the bad ideas. Make Falcon Age 2, but make it about the adventure of free roaming. Make it a sandbox type experience. Play Breath of the Wild. Breath of the Wild is amazing because you can just wander around, you farm for items, and you upgrade your gear, and the physics are fun. Fighting things is fun. This game, it's not fun to fight things. And that's the biggest problem for me, is that I just didn't have fun fighting the things. So, that's brutally honest, that's what I think. But, thank you so much for the developer for giving me a chance to check this game out. And, it's not the worst thing ever. I think there are a lot better games we've been playing, and I mean, on side quests, there are games with so much better physics. The Quest can do great physics, guys. This does not have physics of any kind. I'm on middle here. Maybe check it out, maybe don't check it out. I'm not going to tell you to buy it. This was Brutally Honest with Lipnox. Thanks for checking out. Like, comment, and subscribe, and see you next time.